Yes, guys, welcome back to SFeatleyTV. We're here for a special stream. We're here for the Monaco's memorable moments in celebration of the fact that we are hosting the 78th Monaco Grand Prix, the 67th Grand Prix to be held in Monaco Grand Prix to be held in the FIA Formula One World Championship in 2021 after 2 years out from the sport. Where it was last won by Mr. Hamilton himself. And this is why it is the jewel in the crown of Formula One, and why every fan wants to watch it, every team wants to win it, every driver wants to win it, right? Because it's just an absolutely magical event, and whoever came up with the idea should be held in awe of everyone, because it's such an iconic race. Even if you're not a motorsport fan or a sport fan, you know the Monaco Grand Prix. You know it. Simple as that. So big up to everyone that's watching. Do smash the like button. Do smash the subscribe button. I will be going later because of some developing news stories tonight that I want to share. And I was originally thinking it would be for Arsenal, but it doesn't look like it's going to be. But oh well. So we're going to look at past Monaco Grand Prix, and the first one that really comes to my mind is 1996, and we're going to go back to 1996, where it was a chaotic race. It started in the rain, dried out throughout the Grand Prix, and practice and qualifying, where Schumacher took pole position with his rival at the time, which was Damon Hill next to him was second. I think Jacques Villeneuve was third, and so Damon Hill was second. John Lacey was third. Gerhard Berger was fourth, and where was the other Williams? Jacques Villeneuve qualified 10th. He didn't have a very good record. Only 7 drivers finished this Grand Prix, which spoke a lot about how it was then days. The cars weren't reliable, and it was very easy to make more mistakes back then, I feel. Plus, the swimming pool section was a lot more like harder to get through. You couldn't go flat out like you can, and there weren't certain little runoff areas you can go down. So yeah, so let me have a look at this. Let's have a look at, go back to the 1996 Grand Prix, and if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, actually, if I have a look at this, it was actually 7 drivers retired. Yeah, the others were counted as classified because they had classified because they were like 68, lap 70s. Only actually, sorry, I do mistake myself. Those ones were classified. Only actually 3 drivers. I'm not talking about football, talking Barca. Right, this is an F1 stream. I'm not talking about football at the minute. But please do smash a like on the video and do share it as well. If you want to make a donation, just hit that Just Giving page, but just hit that Just Giving page link in the description below. Donate directly to the charity, or you can. Are things that bad? You follow F1 instead of Arsenal? No, I've always followed F1 since when I was a kid, same as I did when I followed Arsenal. Right, I've always watched Formula One. I was a massive Schumacher fan growing up. From my first Monaco Grand Prix I watched was, I think, 2000, where Schumacher was leading and then he clipped the barrier, which meant suspension failure. I've always been a massive F1 fan. I support it now more than football because of obvious reasons. But only 3 drivers out of this Grand Prix actually finished. The top 3 are the ones that finished. So, which were only 75 laps. They weren't 78 laps because the amount of incidents and the fact it was raining and it was drying and I do remember Michael Schumacher who I do remember Michael Schumacher who had just moved to Ferrari at the time after being double world champion with Benetton in 94 95, qualified pole, but he only made it to about Portier in the first lap. Portier in the first lap made a mistake straight off in the wet and put it straight in the barriers, which was very, 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 very uncharacteristic of Schumacher. And then obviously I think it was where was what happened to Schumacher accident on turn 1. Yeah, didn't even complete the first lap. Then it was Damon Hill. Yeah. So actually, no, I thought Damon Hill crashed out. He didn't. He was leading for most of that Grand Prix, right? Leading most of that Grand Prix, and his Williams failed. His engine failed. That's what happened. And Panis, who eventually won the race, I think that was the one and only race he won was at Monaco, right, where Petros had to do it. And it reached the 2-hour mark at 75 laps, which means that you finished the race. You only had to a 2-hour race. And he started 14th. Johnny Herbert in the Sauber started 13th. Heinz Halfenson, who retired in the pits the lap before, started 9th, who was Johnny Herbert's teammate. So not bad results for Sauber. But McLaren's David Coulthard was second with starting 5th on the grid. So just the amount of drama, you didn't know what was going to happen next in that Grand Prix. And that's the thing. You can't ever just be certain. You can't ever be certain at Monaco. Anything can happen. Just the slightest mistakes will put you in the wall. And simple as that. So that's one of my all-time greats. If you think of anything, put it in the chat. We'll have a look at them. Don't worry about that. We'll make sure we'll look at them. I'll try and get some people on as well. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Bloody thing. do hit that like button, do hit that subscribe button, and oh, you're joking. It's right. Boom, boom, boom. Right, there we go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. So, yeah, and I'm gonna move on to one of the. Can't mention any Monaco Grand Prix without Senna, who's won the most Grand Prix at Monaco, 6. The next one being Graham Hill at 5 Grand Prix. So, gotta mention him in that. And I think for me was which one was it? Which one was it? Yeah, I know. 1984 Monaco Grand Prix. Right, this is where Senna announced himself on the world stage, big time. Back in 1984, it was the season where where Lauda, secured his 3rd world title, and Senna started. Where did he start? He started in qualifying. He had qualifying 2, 4, 6. Yeah. Where is it? Yeah, he qualified 13th in the Tolman, and the Tolman was like Williams at the minute. It was never going to win a Grand Prix. It was never going to fit anywhere near the front whatsoever. It had no right to be there. But it was very, very heavy rain and spray and very, very poor conditions at all. Like, I think that yeah, I mean, I think even today's race, it would have been stopped in today's world. And big up, Anthony. How are you, mate? Come on, let's get to 10 likes. Yeah, smash it. Love the shirt and the black one, Steven. Big up. Big up. Like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. Big up the biddy. What I have done is put the link in the chat. So do that now. So yeah, do that right now. Smash that like button. Right. It's the Monaco Grand Prix, guys. Come on, let's do this. Right, do it for the Monaco Grand Prix. It's been 2 years. We've been waiting for 2 years. But yeah, Senna had an amazing drive from 13th on the grid. Worked his way up, fought his way up, passing car after car in a car that should never have been in even the points. This car should be at the back of the grid permanently. He got it up to 2nd place. At one point, he was lapping in Alain Prost, who was in a McLaren that was fighting for a title. He was lapping 3 seconds a lap faster in a Tolman that had no right to be at the front of the grid. This was why Senna. This was the arrival. This was the arrival of the great man himself, right? 84, was that a big crash in that race, or am I wrong? What do you mean by big crash? What do you mean by? Because there's been loads of crashes in Monaco. Martin, I think his name was Martin Bundle. Nah. Mansell went off. Mansell went off at Massenet before Casino in the Lotus. So I know he crashed out. Yeah, Martin didn't. Pole sitter led the race from the start, while the first corner contact from Anis Arnoux and Derek Warwick, it punched through the carbon. It broke his leg after from that incident between Rennie Arnoux and Derek Warwick. After the carbon fiber monocoque chassis was broken through, because they weren't as strong as they are in these days. Only 8 cars finished this Grand Prix, actually. One was disqualified, Belloff for being underweight. Mansell was in the Lotus and spun off. So did Winkelhock. Lauda also spun off and retired. Patrese did. In the Alfa Romeo. So yeah, but the main focus was obviously Ayrton Senna himself, how he announced himself on the world stage. So that this is why you can't mention it. And I'm going to mention another one that he did as well. This is how much he had an influence. He owned Monaco. When you think of when I think of the Monaco Grand Prix these days, I think of Senna because he owned that Grand Prix. Right. He also won it in 1992. Right, and let's be fair. Right, Mansell was unlucky. He caught a puncher, which he had to pit. Otherwise, he would never got stuck behind Senna. But the fact was Senna was not 30 odd seconds behind him by that point was unbelievable because Mansell had a clearly faster car. He had the 14 WB, which was the all singing, all dancing, active suspension, traction control, ABS, all the electronic gizmos you find in a modern standard car these days was in that car. It all started from that car, that 14 WB. So when you go turn on your car and you go switch on traction control, it all stemmed from that car, 14 WB, right? 1992 Williams. And same as like now, if you buy a Merc, you get a flappy paddle gearbox, right? Or to mess around with, to override. And the same there. Senna managed to keep in touch with him so by the time he pitted and he had 8 laps to go, he had much fresher tyres. Senna had dead tyres that were dead. He was in a much slower car. He was flapping 5 seconds a lap slower than he was. Big up, Mike Green. I'm sorry I couldn't get to your stream earlier. I was really tired from my infusions, so I had to take a nap beforehand. So yeah, I'll make up to you. I'll jump in your chat and I'll get on your channel at some point as well. I definitely will get on your channel. Sort something out and I'll get on your channel, mate. Don't you worry about that. We'll sort that out. But yeah, so Senna was just supreme and he knew he could just put the car in any great thing about Monaco, you could be 5 seconds a lap slower. Daniel Ricciardo last season in 2018 was 5 seconds a lap slower, but he put his car in the middle of the racetrack. Lewis Hamilton last season, his last win at Monaco, which is the last Monaco Grand Prix in 2019, was slower than Max Verstappen because he had to control the pace to look after the tyres. He had to do 67 laps on tyres that were supposed to only do 50. So he had to look after the pace and look after the tyres, which meant he was considerably slower. But he managed to just keep the car planted in the middle of the road. And if that's the case, you can't get past. And it was the same here for Senna. And that's why you had those last few laps. They never touched each other at any point. Nose to tail, all the way to the end. Mate, don't apply. It's fine. Mate, we need you on my channel soon. Haha. Yeah, man, we're gonna grow together, boy. Don't you worry about that. We're gonna grow our channels together, boy. Don't you worry about that. Don't you worry about that, mate. Don't you worry. But if you want to jump on, mate, it's all good. Right, we are celebrating the Monaco Grand Prix. It's back. Back. Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? Back again. It's back. It's back. Monaco is back. So, yes, Monaco is back, and we are celebrating it in style. Right. I will be doing on Saturday morning, not just qualifying, I will be doing free practice free. I would even be doing free practice free. I would have even done FP1 and FP2 today. But I can't. I would have done FP1 and FP2, but I couldn't have done it on Friday. Yes, I'm doing a football stream tonight. I did my match reaction tonight. Some news that I've seen on Twitter that I retweeted, and I originally thought it's to do with Arsenal, but it's not. It's something to do with Manchester United. And if you check my channel, you know what the title of the thumbnail is. And if you know what the title of the thumbnail is, it is big. And I mean big news. Right? And it's news that probably every Man United fan is going to bloody wish for. Right? And every Arsenal fan's going to fucking dread. Right? Because it was bad enough having him the first time round. This fucking football club's going to be the death of me, honestly. But I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about F1. Right on my screen. Twitter. Sorry. Yeah, so that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm doing. Not saying a word. But yeah, that was an absolute 1993 again. Shone out. That's why you can't mention anything about the Monaco Grand Prix without mentioning it in Senna. So we're gonna look at 2008. We're gonna fast forward this a bit. 2008. Monaco, just gonna bring this up just to refresh my memory. Monaco Grand Prix of 2008, Hamilton's first win at the Principality, and he qualified fourth, I believe. No, third. He qualified third in qualifying, and knew it was going to be a wet race. So we knew there was a wet race going on. So, yeah, it was a wet race throughout the start of the race. It rained heavily before the start of the race, and dried out significantly throughout the Grand Prix. And he hit the barrier, I think, around about lap. Oh, fucking hell. What lap? What lap? Kovalainen stalled at the grid. Right. He jumped the Ferraris. One of the Ferraris. I think it was Massa at the start. So no, it was actually Raikkonen. Sorry. So he ended up behind Massa in second, but ahead of Raikkonen, which was crucial to how it was going to play out. And it's then the conditions proved to be crucial when Hamilton when Hamilton made contact with barriers on the outside to back corner on lap 6, necessitating the return to a pits for a new set of tyres after the tyre immediately punctured. The McLaren mechanics fueled the car for a longer second stint, and Hamilton emerged 5th. Distances between the competitors' cars resulted in him only losing 3 places during the stop. Alonso had a similar incident due to Hamilton's at Massenet 2 laps earlier and emerged 7th after pitting and taking on extreme wets. So he had Massa had a 12-second lead. Then after lap 8, safety car was brought out after Coulthard and Bourdais had crashed into the barriers at Massenet, which obviously meant he had to get the cranes to lift them out. Raikkonen, however, was called into the pit lane for a drive-through penalty after failing to have his tyres attached by the 3-minute warning sign, which didn't help his cause, which dropped him back to 4th. Kubica then took on 2nd. Then Massa slid off down the escape route down Sandoval, undamaged, but unfortunately had to relieve the position in 2nd. Then swapped 2 positions after the pit stops, with Kubica on lap 26 and Massa on lap 33. But Hamilton, carrying more fuel than the rivals, took the lead. As the drying line appeared, Hamilton extended his lead from 13 seconds to 37. By the time he made a pit stop for the second time, it was on lap 54. His time proved fortunate as he changed to dry tyres just as the strategy emerged as the strongest, as he emerged 13 seconds ahead of Massa. The Ferrari's one own pit stop, 2 stops later, dropped Massa behind Kubica. So it was then reduced to nothing after another safety car. After Rosberg smashed heavily at the swimming pool section. About 150 mile an hour you're doing for there. So, and then Sutil, who gained most places, and he was doing so well for Force India. It looked like he was going to score the Force India's first ever points. It was their first season as Force India, and was driven back into the back by Raikkonen. Lost control of his car, breaking out the tunnel, smashed up the rear end of him, and ruined his race. And so it finished in the end with 14 drivers finishing, but Hamilton taking the spot after what looked to be all but over at the start of that race, or halfway into that race. It was just unbelievable. Can I join next? Yeah, I'll send the links out, don't worry. Are you free for a stream at 10? No, I can't. I'm about to jump on a stream. I'm about to do a stream at 9:30, mate, because there's some big news that's just turned up. Right, that I've got to go live for. If I'm a football channel, I've got to go live for it. Right. And on Monday, do see your message in the community chat, mate. Yeah, mate, just jump on when you can, mate. I've got till 9 p.m. Then I've got to reset, do the rest of this thumbnail and stuff like. Yeah, I need the thumbnail for that stream, man. Because that's huge, and I need you on for that. I need you on for it. It's huge news, man. Hopefully it can only be an hour long, so everyone can then jump on Charlie's channel. But it's huge. It's fucking huge news. If it's true, if it is really true, and it looks true, now you work it all out, and so that's the 2008 one. Now, what one should I go for next? There's so many. There's so many I could go through. Do you know what? 2004 was a good one. I hated 2004 because of what happened in the race. Because I'm a Schumacher fan. The 2004 Monaco Grand Prix. So big up everyone. Do smash the like button. Do smash that subscribe button and hit the share button. Pleasure to have you all in as always. And do that. If you want to leave a donation, do it via the Just Giving page link. Donate straight to the charity. So yeah, do it that way. There's that, or you can do it as a super chat. It's either up to you. But yeah, it's right, Monaco. So who started on pole position? Jarno Trulli started on pole position for this. For Renault was really extremely quick in qualifying. Jenson Button finished in second position, 1 second behind 1 second behind Trulli. Rubens took third spot, while Schumacher took on fifth position on the grid. Now, how's the race went? The race began on pole. BL's Jenson Button behind, Fernando Alonso and Schumacher occupied the second row. 2 aborted starts. Olivier Panistori's Toyota and Trulli's Renault leaked coolant onto the track. The play lap began. Panistori again as the race began. Takuma Sato made an excellent start from 8th to 4th in seconds. Presently, Sato's engine began smoking on the third lap. He exploded in spectacular fast, releasing an enormous cloud of smoke, in which Giancarlo Fisichella collided with McLaren's David Coulthard and overturned. Right, both drivers on hurt, as was Sato. Right, obviously the safety car came out. Right, Trulli took the safety car at the 8th lap until the 8th lap, and at which point Alonso fought Trulli for the lead. Then was followed by Button when the race was started. Montoya moved past Rubens Barrichello to take 6th. Trulli set 3 consecutive fastest laps. Was only able to increase the lead to 1.2 over Alonso. Leaders on their first stops on lap 18, and then by Michael Schumacher stopped 20 on to Michael Schumacher stopped on 26. That was sort of the gap they pitted on for their first stops. Still, Trulli led from Alonso, with Schumacher now in third after jumping Bob Raikkonen and Button. Raikkonen retired in 28 with mechanical issues, and by which point Bruni, Pantano, Mark Webber and Christian Klein have already been on the sidelines. And in an attempt to lap Ralf Schumacher, who was down in 11th position, Alonso tried to pass him out offline outside the tunnel, which you can't do in the tunnel. You can't go around the outside and hit. You can't go around the outside of the tunnel and try and overtake someone, because all the marbles, all the dust and everything on the outside of the tunnel just draws you straight into the barriers. You just lose all the grip. And he went straight into the barriers, came flying out in an absolute car destroyed. And Alonso, enraged by the incident, publicly accused Ralph of dangerous driving. The safety car was immediately deployed, and all the front runners except Schumacher and Montoya took the opportunity to pit. While following the safety car, Schumacher locked his left front tyre in the tunnel in an attempt to generate heat in his brake pad discs and for the restart. Montoya directly behind moved to the inside, trying to avoid running the back of Schumacher. However, as Schumacher continued, there was no space between his car and the barrier of Montoya's. As he clipped Montoya's front left tyre, his right rear spun sideways and hit the barriers. The accident ended Schumacher's hopes for a 6th consecutive victory and a perfect season. Open investigations, the stewards declined to abort blaming to either side. So once the order then settled down towards the end of this Grand Prix. It was truly that led from Button, but Barton was considerably faster. I do remember this, and he was trying to overtake Trulli, with obviously around Monaco, which you can't do. So no matter how much he tried, he couldn't get past. And in the end, Trulli took, I think, his only victory at the Monaco Grand Prix, with Button second, having to wait till 2009 before he get his win at Monaco, with Barrichello third, Juan Pablo Montoya fourth, but a lap down, so as all the others. Only 8 drivers actually finished the race, though 9 were classified. No, nine drivers actually finished the race. Sorry, 9 drivers only finished the race. Zolt Baumgartner coming home in the Minardi in 9th. Well, Schumacher and everyone else had retired. So, yeah, another just action-packed Grand Prix, and that's the thing. It's just you never know what can happen next in Monaco, right? And that's why, even though sometimes people might think it could be a bit boring, you never know what's around the corner. You literally never know what's around the corner in Monaco. I think one time I think it was 2000, where the start of the Grand Prix, someone made contact with someone at Loeb's hairpin, spun him round, and because he spun him round at an angle, it covered the circuit, which meant they couldn't restart. They couldn't get past him because he had blocked the circuit because of how narrow it is. So yeah. So what other one can I think of? What one can I think of that was just like action packed? 2011, but then it was spoiled by the red flag. 2016, sorry. 2016. These are the ones I can remember. That's most of them, apart from obviously 92 and 84. (2016) Monaco Grand Prix. So yeah, that Monaco Grand Prix this weekend, that weekend was Twitter, from one reliable tweet, was from a tweet from a reliable source, and it's putting 2 and 2 together. And it's to do with financial stuff, but I'll talk about it during the stream. Yeah, so qualifying, Ricciardo was left to grab pole. The Red Bulls were clearly fast on that weekend, in every session, and Max Verstappen failed to take his opportunity in his second race. Even though it was his second race for Red Bull, failed to take his opportunity by crashing out in qualifying, which meant he would have started. He would have started. He started from the pit lane. Sorry. Nazar was allowed to continue. She had no time set under 100% rule, but they deemed him fast enough anyway from 3 practice sessions. So Ricciardo lined up first, Rosberg and Hamilton second and third, with Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel in fourth. Right, so and obviously it was raining for the race, and again was drying out throughout the Grand Prix, and Hamilton was significantly. I think, how did the race go? It started shortly after the safety car. The race started in earnest on lap 7, with Ricciardo defending his lead from the restart, with Magnussen making an immediate stop for tyres at the end of the lap. Jolyon Palmer proved just how slippy it was when he crashed out a lap later, being caught on a wet zebra crossing, causing a virtual safety car. As more cars then came in to switch to intermediates for the following laps. On lap 11, Kimi Raikkonen damaged his front wing and guardrail at Lowe's hairpin, resulting in his front wing getting caught underneath his front tyres, blocking Grosjean's way in the process. Raikkonen retired some quarters later, while Ricciardo's built up a gap up front. Yeah. Where is it about? On lap 3rd, Ricciardo built a gap up between 10 seconds clear of Rosberg on lap 13. 1 lap later, Sebastian Vettel was the first of the front runners to change the intermediates. Mercedes issued team orders demanding Rosberg let Hamilton pass lap 16, but the gap had grown to 13 seconds. Lap 21 was when Rosberg then made his pit for intermediates, or ints, leaving only Ricciardo and Hamilton at the front of the field who were still on full wet. Ricciardo made the switch on lap 24, but Hamilton stayed out, opting to remain on the wet tyre until the track dried out enough to go on slicks. In the meantime, Verstappen fought his way back into the top 10, starting from 21st. Subsequent laps, Ricciardo was able to reduce the gap to Hamilton in the lead, edging as close as half a second by lap 28. Behind the pair, Rosberg was third, ahead of Perez and Vettel. The pivotal moment of the race was lap 31. Hamilton then made his switch to slicks and was slow to heat his tyres up, and this is how the Mercedes have been struggling that weekend, struggling to heat the tyres up, especially super soft, the ultra softs. When Ricciardo then followed suit a lap later, the pit crew was not ready for him. They fitted him. They were not ready for him and had the wrong tyres, resulting in a long stop, which then basically handed the lead to Hamilton, as he had lost the amount of time trying to heat the tyres up during that outlap. So Hamilton managed to stay in front of him narrowly, and for pretty much the rest of that race, you saw Hamilton not being able to box because he knew he'd give up the position, and Ricciardo, the only way he could really go was try and pass him on tyres that were going to last and so much better, and he couldn't do it. And again, because of the narrow streets, because of the shortness of the straights, you can't overtake there. So it's just, he was again struggling to make the tyres work. So not making the tyres work, being able to find a place good enough to overtake. So anyway, we're gonna wrap up for there because that is all I can find. That is and it's just some examples of why Monaco is so loved, as well as not just the place, like the track, circuit, like, and everything around it, right, is why it's just like the jewel in the crown of Formula One. Forget Singapore, forget Abu Dhabi, forget the rest of them. Right, the jewel in the crown of Formula One is always going to be Monaco. And that's end of story. So, but anyway, make sure you do smash a like on the video. Do hit that like button. Do hit that subscribe button, please. And do hit that share button. We're back at 9:30 because there's some breaking news that's coming out. Well, from reliable sources that I know that are coming out, and from what they're saying, it could well be true. But anyway, stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you then. Bye bye.